Hello and welcome to HMS TechTalks. In a previous episode, we talked to Samuel Alexandersson about integrating industrial network connectivity into an industrial device. We talked about that you could do that in 3 different ways. You can do it yourself from scratch, building both hardware and software. You can use a chip to get a little bit further along the way, and you can also use a ready-made network connectivity solution to get both hardware and software ready to really make it fast. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper today into that last section of how to get connected with ready-made network connectivity solutions. And to talk about that today, we have Andreas Stillborg, product manager here at HMS. So welcome, Andreas.
Thank you, Thomas.
So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into these fellows here, the Anybus CompactComs, and see what you need to do as a device manufacturer to get connected. But so let's say that you have decided on this third option. You want to use a ready-made solution and get that integrated into your industrial device. What are the different options available? How should you think?
Yeah, first of all, Thomas, I think you made a good decision here to go with a third-party solution.
Indeed.
Because I can guarantee that you will come to the market faster with your products over doing it yourself. And as a product manager myself, I know the pressure of getting products shipped to the market fast.
Right.
So the options that we can offer you are 3 different ones that I want to talk about today, and it's our what we call our module, and it's the brick, and we have a new addition to the CompactCom family also, which is called the B40 Mini, so the mini brick.
Okay. Right. So let's have a look at these then one by one. If you look at the module here,
yes.
What are the pros and cons? If you could explain a little bit what you need to do on the hardware side and the software side and so on.
Yes. So let's start with the module here. So I would say that's our most complete, as close to plug and play as you can get. So it's hardware, firmware, and connectors all in one. You need to make sure that you have one of our host interfaces, so SPI, serial, or a parallel interface to talk to the module. And on the software side, you can download and use our software development kit, and you can use our example code that it's ready to be ported then into your microcontroller on the device side. And then you can modify the code and use the functions that you need and turn on and off the functions that you need for your application.
Right. What would you say are the greatest, where is the greatest work? Is it on the hardware side or on the software side? How would you divide that?
I would say if you go with the module, there's some work on the hardware side, but not that much, and not too much on the software side either, because we try to prepare as much as possible for you. Of course, you need to make sure that this is physically designed into your device so that you can slot it in using these compact flash connectors.
Right. But it is the most plug-and-play solution.
Yeah, I would say the module is as close to plug-and-play as you can come.
Right. What about, I guess this goes for all the solutions, but when it comes to certifying these with the different network organizations, because that's also something you need to do as a device manufacturer, you need to have it, certified by Profinet or Ethernet IP or all these networks. How does that work?
Yes, so they come pre-conformed, so pre-tested from us, which minimize the work on your part when you have to certify your entire device that this is part of.
Right, which you have to do if you do it yourself.
But if you do it yourself, yes, then you have to do everything from scratch, including the certification.
Okay. Okay, so that's the module. Let's have a look at the next steps. We have in the middle here, we have the brick. What is that?
Yeah, so the brick, I would say it's a little bit more of a flexible solution, but it's also requires a little bit more work on your side. So you need to make sure that you have the right physical layers to the networks that you need, and you need to add these connectors yourself. So RJ45 ports if you use Profinet, for example.
Right.
So that routing you would have to do yourself to the connectors. It's a little bit more flexible in the sense that you build it into your device, so you don't have to take care of the physical design properties that you would need to do with this one.
Yeah, for example, I guess you can put the connectors a bit further away from the actual brick if needed.
Exactly, if needed. And you can also have some, if you require some special connectors, like a special IP class, for example, you can choose that.
With M12 connectors.
Yes, for example, yeah.
Okay, so a little bit more flexibility and size-wise, of course, it's smaller as well. And speaking of size, we have a new edition here, which is just coming out now, the mini version. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so the B40 Mini, it's a little bit smaller. It's about 30% smaller than the current brick that we have. It's also saves some space vertically, as it doesn't have the connector pins that the brick have. But I would say the big thing with the B40 Mini is that it's catering to automated assembly. So this comes with the connector pins and screws. This is to be soldered on to the motherboard in the device, and that's typically used in automated production where you have a pick and place machine, so no manual intervention needed.
Okay, so you can actually put it in a pick and place machine and just get it automated on your motherboards.
Yes. So soldered on, and we of course provide soldering guides. But if you use this, it's more like any other components that you use on your device, really. So you probably have a soldering process in place if you choose to go for the B40 Mini.
Okay. Right. What about performance? I can see that the NP40 network processor is on both the Brick and the Brick Mini. Are there any differences when it comes to performance on the three form factors?
Performance-wise, they are all equal on the different form factors. The module and the brick also comes in versions that we call industrial IoT. So if you required connections to IT systems on the factory floor, we have a version for that. They also come with OPC UA and MQTT, if that's relevant for you. And with connection to IT systems on the factory floor, it also comes with some enhanced security features.
Okay.
So the new 40 Mini is a more lean version if you just require an Ethernet connection.
Right, okay. I guess a lot of users of Anybus are now looking into their next generation and thinking about, should I use the brick or should I use the Mini? What's the difference really? What would you say, having developed this?
Yeah, I would say if you are running high volumes and automated assembly lines and production lines, then I think the B40 Mini is a great choice. Or if you're very space constrained, as with all technology, it gets smaller over time. And we see that also for industrial devices. So if you're space constrained or you're running high volume production, I would say the B40 Mini is for you. As it's soldered on, you can't remove it, so there might be some less flexibility there. So if you don't run an automated assembly line, I would maybe look at the B40 instead.
Okay. Interesting. So ending up here, you've been working on the Mini now for a while and investigating the market and so on. How do you see the usage? What type of device manufacturer do you see using the different options, especially the new Mini then?
Yeah, so this trend of miniaturization we see across all kinds of devices, really. But I would say, especially when it comes to devices getting smaller, we see that sensors, for example, they are usually just now fist size, and that could be a good option then with the B40 Mini. And if you don't require old field bus networks and just Ethernet based, like Profinet and Ethernet IP, then the B40 Mini is, I think, is a good choice.
Excellent. Everything is getting smaller, indeed.
Yeah.
Andreas, thanks very much for talking to us. And if you want to know more about the B40 Mini and all the other Anybus CompactCom different different sizes. You can visit hmsnetworks.com to learn more. Thanks very much for listening.